Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, Beyond the Printed Statement, the Evolution of Enterprise Output Management. This is Skip Hank, President and CEO of Xplore, and on behalf of Xplore, I'd like to welcome you all. Today's webinar is going to explore the evolution of enterprise output management for high-volume transactional content. Jeff's going to take you from the early high-volume printers and document composition systems through manual envelope stuffing, file cabinets of paper statements for archiving, to modern-day automation and ECM. Our presenter today is Jeff Williams, Director of Product Management. Jeff leads the Product Management Group at Actuate's Xenos Group, performing market research and gathering market requirements. Jeff drives overall product direction through close interaction with virtually every department in the organization, as well as external customers and prospects. Jeff has over 15 years of experience in the technology industry, with 9 years in HVTO and ECM markets and over 5 years in product management. Jeff started at Xenos in 2002, and has held a range of responsibilities that help shape his understanding of the market, from the technical product requirements to the overall business drivers. He attended the University of Toronto, where he earned a bachelor's degree of science with majors in economics and computer science. Jeff became Pragmatic Marketing Certified in 2005. Just a couple of tips that I want to share with everybody. First of all, I was advised by Jeff that the weather in Toronto, as it is in many parts of North America, is a little bit questionable at best. Yesterday they had a brief blackout. If that should happen, then what we will do is notify you that we'll reschedule this and hold the webinar at a later date. So one way or another, you're going to be able to attend this webinar. But before we begin, I want to share a few tips with you. As an attendee, you should see an attendee control panel, which can be expanded or collapsed by clicking the plus or minus on the left side of each pane. You can use the question and answer feature to send text questions. Once you enter the text questions, we're going to answer the questions at the end of the webinar. You can click the square to toggle the viewer window between full screen and window mode. And we are recording this webinar. And in 3 to 4 days, we'll be sending you a thank you for attending and a link to the recorded webinar so that you could review it or pass it along to your colleagues or other people within your company. So now, please join me in welcoming Jeff. Jeff, go ahead.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Skip. It's a pleasure to be here today. As Skip mentioned, my name is Jeff Williams. I'm the Director of Product Management at Actuate's Xenos Group. And today I want to take you through the evolution of output management and how we're getting it beyond the printed statement. So just bear with me. There we go. So who is Xenos Group? Well, Xenos Group is headquartered in Toronto. We have regional offices in Walton-on-Thames near London and Paris, France. Our customer base is really the who's who in financial services, insurance, telecommunications, and others. And we've been in business now for almost 30 years with Actuate Corporation acquiring us back in February 2010. And we have some key partnerships with companies like Computer Associates, IBM, and Oracle. So at Xenos, we deliver enterprise-class output management. Our technology creates business advantage and promotes cost reduction by managing the capture, storage, repurposing, and delivery of our customers' high-volume print and electronic content. So that's really what I wanted to speak to you guys about today. So to start, many of us think of output management as the process of composing documents, printing them, and then mailing them to customers, sort of the ADF approach. Over the years, enterprise management has grown and evolved to include many more functions. Here's how some analysts have described it. an information technology practice that deals with the organization, formatting, management, and distribution of data that's created by enterprise applications like banking information systems, insurance systems, ERP, CRM, retail systems, and many others. So because there's so much functionality that goes into output management, it's historically meant a jigsaw of disparate point solutions, custom scripts, and internally developed code. And I'll just walk through how we got that way. So to start, really we're starting with document composition. And document composition started as a custom-built application on Big Iron that would lay out documents and statements to be printed. By using custom code, that application was specific to the single printer that it was meant to print on. Through the 70s, document composition continued to evolve to the point where in the 80s and 90s, vendors were providing applications that incorporated what you see is what you get designers to improve layouts of statements, as well as allow for more quickly design, review, and approve type changes. You might also note that this is where initial workflow functionality was introduced to output management. Output management would be nothing without the printers. So while document composition was evolving, so were the printers used to print high-volume transactional output. Each model improved upon the last with its speed and quality. However, high volumes required text-only printing, mostly on green bar paper feeds. The complexity of the document layout was directly tied to the throughput of the printers. To get around some of this and to add color and graphics to the statements, organizations started using pre-printed stock due to the performance and speed, as well as the cost of toner. As time went on, printers became more specialized and optimized for high volumes of documents and images. However, each printer still had its own specific language that it understood. Once the documents were finally printed, we move into the mailroom. They needed to be folded, sorted, and then inserted into envelopes. Originally, this was a manual endeavor which took a large labor force, since banks, insurance, and credit card companies had from tens of thousands to millions of customers. You can imagine what the mailroom would look like with so many people in there stuffing envelopes day in, day out. This introduced an area for efficiency. So specialized hardware was developed to perform the task of folding statements, inserting them into envelopes, and eventually even sorting them and optimizing them for mailing as postal optimization discounts started being offered. So now it means that the print room needed to grow to accommodate the additional machines, and more was added to the already vendor-heavy process from composition to printing to mailing. You also had, at this point, the introduction of systems to manage end-to-end what was going on with those various pieces of hardware. Another aspect of output management was archiving. Organizations were required to keep copies of statements of record that they mailed out to their customers to serve as proof that the customer was notified. In the early output management timeframe, these statements were duplicate copies of the statement. They were housed in massive warehouses full of physical, dusty archives. This added more physical space requirements and also had an impact on the labor force required. Due to the ever-expanding warehousing requirements, microfiche was used to become the storage mechanism for these documents. However, it was still a manual effort to find the correct statement on the correct microfiche if it was ever required and the statements were still only serving the purpose of being a backup copy in the event someone would dispute their transactions. So really all we did was go from a full sheet of paper down to a minimized sheet of paper stored on film. Eventually, document capture and scanning solutions were introduced, which allowed the printed page to be scanned into the archiving system as images, which reduced the requirement for these vast warehouses filled with filing cabinets. As the storage requirements grew, specialized repositories entered the market in the form of computer output to laser disk systems, or COLD. These were used to capture, archive, store, and retrieve large volumes of data such as accounting reports, loan records, inventories, customer statements, and others. These systems were typically implemented to replace the paper creation and the microfiche solutions. Now, the term COLD has been superseded by the enterprise content management industry, along with the enterprise report management. These systems usually work by capturing data from print streams, the content that was created by the composition engine to go to the printer, and storing it on hard drives, storage area networks, or optical media. The data is then retrieved via web browsers or fax clients. ERM systems are part of what has become enterprise content management. Now, because of the industry that we are in, we definitely can't forget transformation. Document transformation was introduced to help the corporate print centers to allow documents that were created to be printed on one type of printer or to be printed on other printers. These transformation or conversion functions were either custom coded in-house on Big Iron or were provided by vendors such as Xenos. Document transformation also enabled the indexing and extraction of metadata of print-ready documents for ingestion into COLD or content management systems. This now allowed a wide variety of content to be searched for within the content management systems because the indexing allowed you to find things very quickly. Additionally, it provided the ability to convert native print-ready formats to image and PDF formats for storage in COLD systems, as well as e-presentment. Document reengineering and repurposing was later added to enable the insertion of trans-promotional offerings on individual customer statements to make these customer communications more relevant to the customer. And repurposing also allowed the reuse of content that was locked inside that printed page within downstream applications and for in-memory content analytics. As the Internet was adopted by commerce in the 90s, it gave rise to a new paradigm of customer service. Customers now wanted to get information faster and in the comfort of their own home, instead of waiting for paper bills and statements to arrive in the mail. Document electronic presentment and electronic bill presentment and payment was born, introducing yet another system and more vendors to the output management space. Also, organizations needed a way to store and present the electronic versions of the statement that were stored in their COLD systems and often needed to implement custom code to tie these systems together. With the advent of e-presentment and the use of COLD systems, enterprise content management was born. ECM helped organizations to classify and store large volumes of structured and unstructured information. Some examples of this, storing the native print-ready bills so they could be reprinted, or nowadays storing audio and video content within it. The technologies that comprise ECM today are the descendants of the late 80s and early 90s electronic document management systems. The original EDMS products were standalone products providing functionality in one of four areas: imaging, workflow, document management, or COLD, or electronic records management. The typical early EDMS adopter deployed a small-scale imaging and workflow system, possibly just to a single department, in order to improve a paper-intensive process and migrate towards that mythical paperless office. The first standalone EDMS technologies were designed to save time and improve information access by reducing paper handling and paper storage. Think back to the warehouse full of those dusty archives. This helped reduce document loss and provided faster access to information. EDMS could provide online access to information formerly available only on paper, microfilm, or microfiche. By improving control over documents and document-oriented processes, EDMS streamlined time-consuming business practices, and the audit trail generated by these systems enhanced document security and provided metrics to help measure productivity and identify efficiencies. As time passed, more and more organizations achieved pockets of productivity within these technologies. It became clear that the various systems and various EDMS product categories were complementary. Organizations increasingly wanted to leverage multiple EDMS products. This brings us into ECM's core functions, which can be broken down into document management, web content management, search and collaboration, records management, digital asset management, workflow management, and capture and scanning. ECM now introduced even more vendors and systems into the mix of output management, since different systems were best suited for certain content. This resulted in silos of information within the organization. While it's true, ECM has brought in quite a bit of the output management functionality, you still needed to augment it. So, what we have so far. We have document composition systems, either custom created or commercially purchased and highly customized. We have printers that may be new, old, or both from many different vendors. Various archives to store the content outputted from the various systems implemented. You now have online channels to help your customers serve themselves and to help you reduce your call center costs. You have ECM systems to control information flow, including the capture, workflow, storage, and delivery. You have transformation engines to convert content from machine-readable content to human-readable form. And you have data integration to allow all these systems to communicate, all from different vendors and all needing to be wired together somehow. What a mess. So, coming back to output management and the output management of today, these output management suites are evolving in response to a number of economic, industry, and government factors, such as corporate mergers and acquisitions, leaving enterprise architects with a myriad of disparate output management and ECM inventory. Mergers and acquisitions within the ECM industry itself are bringing related technologies together. The corporate desire for vendor reduction is really opening up a greater opportunity for comprehensive application suites and conversely forcing specialty apps out of Tier 1 architectures. And there's a powerful desire to provide both process and control across the ECM ecostructure to meet the ever-growing requirement for organizational information governance. And, of course, there's always the traditional factor of operational cost reduction. While ECM has grown over the years to encompass many of the output management functions, it still needs to be augmented with additional features to truly enable enterprise output management. An output management suite must contain the following functions: the creation of content, whether it be through document composition or statementing applications, the capture of content through scanning, e-forms, optical character recognition, etc. The ability to manage that content once it's in the system through document and records management, introducing things like human-centric workflow and business process management. The storage of content, either in relational databases or repositories or in full-blown content management systems. The delivery of that content, not just through print as it once was, but through different channels, being able to transform and present it online, deliver to mobile channels and tablets, and also provide more with the content that's being presented. And the ability to preserve the content for regulatory requirements. Still, content can be preserved on paper, film, and optical, sent back to NAS, SAN, or CAS devices, and even backed up to tape. Well, the history of output management taught us that these functions can be provided by different vendors and all glued together. It doesn't provide the optimum output management solution. Today, there's vendors that can provide the majority of functionality required in a single output management suite. The key benefits of these emerging enterprise output managements include a single repeatable tool set for use by both business and technical resources to rapidly design, create, change, and deploy information processing projects. Also, the operational cost reduction resulting from reduced staffing required to develop, install, and support critical corporate software. A reduction in vendor population, which is also a reduction in cost. And the reduced risk of project failure with project cost overruns. So, today, enterprise output management suites need to generate output for more than just printers. Content can be created directly for the internet and fax, to name a few. Additionally, customers are demanding access to documents and additional content through mobile channels, such as cell phones and tablet devices. Who doesn't have an iPad or an iPhone nowadays, besides me? Now, the content going through there needs to contain information that's relevant to the consumer and that's suitable for the device. For example, you wouldn't want to produce flash charts for an iPhone or an iPad, or you may want to only show a summary of content for a cell phone user and provide an entire dashboard for someone logging into the website. Consumers are also demanding their once static content to serve them better in interactive ways. They want to organize and interact their content in a way that best suits them. They want to be able to sort, categorize, and organize the data that is contained within their content. They also want to perform in-memory analytics on the data that's in their content, as well as augment it with information from other sources, either to provide within a customer service environment a 360-degree view of the customer, or be able to pull information from your banking statements, your mortgage, your investment, all into a single dashboard and allow that to go back for 7 or 10 years. So really, they want to be able to trend data from their content that spans many years, and they all want to do this from any device. Output management suites are now stepping up and meeting this challenge. So output management requires the ability to wrap process and control around all of the content flowing through it. And to do this, you need to create content that's relevant to the intended consumer, identify content that's been created or is being ingested, route the content to the appropriate channel or make decisions on the identified content, manage the content from creation to destruction through the entire document lifecycle with an audit trail to identify the entire lifecycle of the content. Transformation has also evolved to support the demands of consumers by reusing content stored in static documents within content management systems to drive other applications and provide rich interactive content and analytics. For example, think of your cable and cell bill. Imagine taking the content from what you originally would have got in the mail, and now within a website being able to sort through all of your calls, give nicknames to the people whose numbers show up most frequently, and analyze your overages. It's a really powerful solution that people are asking for now. The output management suites also need to provide process and control over the vast amounts of diverse content, including unstructured content from social media and audio-video that are frequently augmenting the traditional statement. So, in summary, today we've explored how output management has come a long way, but it's also the victim of a patchwork of technology and systems, along with numerous vendors. Output management suites now can encompass a wide variety of functionality that did not exist back when output management meant composing a document, printing it, putting it into an archive, and mailing it out to the customer. The other functionality that's in today's output management, the creation of print content in the form of document composition, and even one-to-one customer correspondence, electronic document classification and storage, along with metadata augmentation to provide more efficient searches, the ability to pull information from other systems and not just the document itself in order to provide additional metadata for when it's stored, really enabling the ease of search and really reducing the amount of time people need to search for content. Multi-channel distribution of content through print, web, fax, and increasingly mobile devices, along with the reuse of static content in downstream applications. One of the things we like to talk about is the archive that documents are stored in being the data warehouse for other applications. Content that's stored is stored for a regulatory reason, and that regulatory storage period can range anywhere from 3 years until after the lifespan of an insured person. So you really do have access to a wide range of historical data that doesn't exist in any other system. All this functionality can be provided by a limited number of vendors and without the need for custom coding to glue all these atomic functions together. We've also looked at some of the new exciting functionality that's being encompassed within the output management suites, allowing end consumers to get relevant content for them in a format that's also relevant to the device or channel they're viewing it on. We will keep seeing the explosion of content from mobile devices and the increased demand by consumers to be able to do more with their content. As we move forward, output management will also continue to evolve to incorporate the widespread adoption of social media, being able to store and analyze people's blogs, feeds coming out of LinkedIn and Twitter. So really, we've come a long way over the past half a century in streamlining the output management process while addressing regulatory compliance, the introduction of e-discovery, and the efficient storage for reduced operational costs, and by providing process control over the content that's being created and distributed to billions each day. Demands on performance and the functionality within output management suites will continue to increase, and vendors will be forced to offer more comprehensive solutions that take advantage of the very latest consumer technologies, and I'm truly excited about where the future of output management will take us. I'd like to thank everyone today for your time, listening to me take you through the evolution of output management going from the printed statement and beyond. So at this time, I'd like to just leave you with a few things. If you'd like to learn more, please visit our website at www.xenos.com. If you'd like to ask a question after question period, you can reach us at info@xenos.com. And you can follow us on Twitter through @Xenos_group or @Actuate. So at this time, I'd like to take some questions. Skip?
Yeah, we do have a couple questions here. One of the individuals said, seeing the last slide, what is the difference between EOM, and ECM?
That's a very good question. The way that we see enterprise output management really, it encompasses enterprise content management. Enterprise content management is allowing the storage of the workflow once a document has been created. It does not manage the print side. So it's an integral function of enterprise output management, and it does actually provide a lot of the capabilities that make up enterprise output management. So as I see things, I think the enterprise content management vendors in the coming years will be expanding their reach within the enterprise output management space to provide more control over the creation process all the way to